Welcome back. Thanks for joining me tonight on The Real Story. This is a conversation every Illinoisan needs to listen to. I've got one of my favorite state senators on the line with me, Chapin Rose. He's the chief budgeteer for the Senate Republican caucus. He's Mr. Budget, knows everything about everything. And I got to tell you, Chapin, I mean, I was down there when you were a state senator. I was state rep. You've been down there a while. And I personally think this is probably the ugliest process and the ugliest budget I've ever seen.
It was unreal. What happened? Just absolutely unreal. And Jeanne, thank you for the kind introduction. It's great talking to you. You're an amazing champion for freedom. So thank you. It's a compliment coming from you.
Well, I mean, I got to say, the Tribune's, big story that just popped up. After lawmakers passed a budget with cuts and tax hikes, Governor Pritzker blames the state fiscal challenges on Trump. I mean, we heard this repeatedly on the Democrat side in the House and the Senate.
What a joke. I mean, first of all, let's just backtrack for your listeners for a minute, okay?
Yes, please.
6 years, J.B. Pritzker, 6 years he's been governor. He's raised the spending in the state by $15 billion. Okay, nobody put a gun to his head. Donald Trump didn't make him do it. Okay, in fact, Donald Trump's only been back here for 2 years or for 2 months, right? A couple months. Mm-hmm. So 6 years, $15 billion. It's up almost 40%, Jeanne. Now, for all your listeners back home, how many listeners? I just want how many of you got a 40% pay raise in the last 6 years? Nobody listening got a 40% pay raise in the last 6 years. We the citizens can't keep up with the government spending. I mean, and they just keep crushing us time and again with more taxes. Again, what we saw last night, they load up their grocery cart before they look in their wallet to know how much money they spend, and they back into the number, and then that's going to be the tax increase every year. We can't do it. We are being crushed.
Yeah, they don't seem to care. And then the whole thing about, these budgets come out with essentially 30 hours before the deadline. I mean, the whole process is screwed up from the get-go. Gut and replace bills, empty shell bills, loading them up. Nobody gets to read it. They don't even know what's in it. I mean, I don't even know how to explain to people how bad it is down there when it comes to process.
Jeanne, let's just give you kind of a real time. This is what happened.
Okay.
So yesterday was Saturday, right? The budget was voted on after 9 o'clock in the House, after 10:30 in the Senate. Okay. The House debated it Friday when the fake budget was filed. Okay. And by the way, it was just one budget bill. It wasn't the revenue. They didn't tell us what the taxes were. They didn't tell us what the budget implementation was. It was just a fake budget that wasn't real. So the House went and debated that in a committee on Friday night, not having the full story. Okay. Then the Senate, we started talking about the budget about 2 p.m. on Saturday, right? But the revenue package still hadn't been filed. Now, keep in mind, that was the second amendment. That was an amendment to the budget from the night before the House debated in committee. So now the House committee debated a budget that wasn't even the same budget that the Senate was debating in committee, right? And neither the House nor the Senate had the revenue package to know how this was even being paid for. So, I think it goes without saying, Jeanne, because you were down there, you know what you're doing. But I mean, this isn't rocket science. Anybody back home understands. How do you debate a budget when you don't know how it's being paid for? When you don't know what, and you know, well, how much tax? Well, we can't tell you the taxes. Why can't you tell us the taxes? Well, they're still up where because you're not done spending. And you know what? I was right. I brought that up at 2 o'clock Saturday, and sure enough, there was a couple other amendments after that added still more spending, and then they figured out again. Oh, now we know how much we have to raise in taxes, and boom, there's the revenue bill. The last bill to be filed is the bill to pay for it all. Well,
that's because they hadn't gotten in all their crony NGOs that they need to give, well over $1 billion to, like Life Shack. What the hell do they do? Or Whiz Kids Foundation, or Positive Moves for $250,000. I mean, this thing is so larded up. And then, tell my listeners again, with some of the other games that they played, how the Democrats get member initiative money and the Republicans don't. I don't personally think anybody should get these earmarks, but whatever.
let's just find that. Let's look at this Tribune headline, right?
Yeah.
Blame Donald Trump. Pritzker blames Donald Trump. Really? So Donald Trump demanded that the Democrats do $270 million in Democrat-only poor projects. Yeah, I'm sure Donald Trump was all over that one. Wait a minute. There's $40 million for a new school, brand new school construction in Speaker Welch's district. Yeah, I bet Donald Trump was for that one too. Wait a minute. There's $40 million for immigrant welcome centers, and then another $40 million for illegal immigration services. Okay, there's $80 million. I'll bet you Stephen Miller spent all night Friday night negotiating that on behalf of the president. Right? I mean, Jeanne, this is insane. No one forced J.B. Pritzker to spend $15 billion in 6 years except J.B. Pritzker. Right? And to your point, I mean, $20 million southwest side or south side
southwest. Organizing. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. You think Donald Trump made you do that one too? Oh, I know. Then we got the transit bill, right, with this $1.50 delivery tax that passed the Senate.
Which I'm glad. I'm glad it passed the Senate. You know why? Because now you can find out all the radical, stupid suburban Democrats that need to be taken out. I mean, this is like the Tony Preckwinkle soda tax. This should be the deal killer. Every one of these people should be voted out of office. They voted for a $1.50 delivery fee on Amazon, Grubhub, Uber Eats, or any other marketplace facilitator.
Walmart.com.
All of it.
I mean, like, listen. So you're a newborn mother. You just went back to work. Maternity leave's over, and oh shoot, we're going to stay late. I can't stop by the store to get diapers, so I order them up. $1.50, right? $1.50 for the diapers. You're the senior citizen has a hard time getting out of the house. $1.50. You're the senior citizen who lives in Chicago, but your grandson's in Champaign. You want to send him a birthday, present or a graduation present. $1.50. I mean, $1.50. $1.50. Can you imagine how many $1.50s are spent on a daily basis by the people of Illinois?
Well, the other thing about that transit bill, which I didn't like, and I think it's important to put this out. I mean, the other thing is, like, if you use the tollways, which I live right near 355, I use it all the time. I'm probably on it once a day. But every time I use that toll, it would have been 50 cents for a total of $1 a day in total. If I use that every day, that's a $365 additional tax to me just for using the tollway one time. And it's all going to bail out CTA pension fund.
Well, you know what? In the spirit of J.B. Pritzker, let's just point out, I bet you Donald Trump made him do that one too.
Right. I know they're just like
crazy.
It's nonsense, but they said that. Gazzardi said the same talking point as well. That, the chaos created by the Trump administration, we don't know what's going to happen with higher ed funding or Medicaid funding you shouldn't have had single able-bodied adults on Medicaid to begin with, but you did it.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned higher ed. It's hilarious.
Oh, higher ed, please do. Yeah,
they're blaming Donald Trump. The governor introduced 3% increase for the universities in the state of Illinois. Okay, a 3% sheriff increase. The Democrats, to fund all their Democrat pork, cut it. They took 2% off. So at the end of the day, they got a 1% increase. Okay. Yep. Donald Trump made them do it. I mean, like.
No, look, say that again. The universities, because I watched some of them coming in to hearing, pleading their cases. We need more money. Of course, they wanted the race-based education funding formula. That went nowhere. They want $135 million more for that. All right. But okay, so they came in, every one of them. I need more money. And the governor said, okay, we're going to give you 3%. But the Democrats negotiated it down. The Democrats in their own party only gave them a 1%. Because they had all this other pork they want to pay for.
Right, they cut. Well, somebody's got to pay for the illegal immigrant welcome centers. By the way, my new favorite senator, Chris Balkema, he goes,
yeah.
Wait a minute. He goes, border crossings are down 93%. Who was there to welcome? Exactly.
I know.
For immigrant welcome centers. It's insane. I mean, but I'll tell you, I lost my mind at one point, and I literally said, you guys are nuts. You're literally nuts. I mean, this delivery tax. I mean, you talk about regressive. I mean, these progressive left people tell us all the time, oh, tax the rich. You know what $1.50 does on a senior citizen who can't get out of the house? That's the single most regressive tax that they've ever even conceived of.
Well, on top of it, I got to admit, my my son and my sister-in-law, my daughter-in-law stayed with us for a while. And honestly, we would get Amazon deliveries a couple times a day with those because the younger generation's just used to doing it.
Right.
Seriously.
Well,
so,
and I
mean,
think everybody listening should think about in a week how many deliveries they get.
Right. That's right.
Take each, take that times $1.50 and then take that times, 365 days a year. I mean, this is a huge tax on the working people of Illinois, the senior citizens of Illinois, the single moms of Illinois. It hits the people who truly can least afford it.
Now, let's be fair here. That bill did not pass the House yet. Do you expect that it will in some way, some form?
So I think you're correct. So let's step back. So that bill passed the Senate with that tax increase in it. There was another $1 billion in tax increases that did pass both the House and the Senate in the budget, right?
Mm-hmm, yes.
So let's just be clear for your listeners, and I appreciate you pointing that out. There's $1 billion that passed both chambers, and it's now on the governor's desk. This Amazon delivery tax is part of the transit bill that Brandon Johnson demanded as the mayor of Chicago to bail out the CTA. And so that has passed the Senate, and yes, the thinking is that they ran up against the clock. There were a couple of Democrats that weren't there last night, so they couldn't hit their majorities they needed to pass it because at midnight, as you know, all the clock changes, and now you need you go from a simple majority to a super majority to pass the bill. So the thinking is that they're going to count their noses, get their ducks in a row, to mix my metaphors, and they will be back at some point in time.
Okay, so we have to be on the lookout for that because that is just like pack your bags and move out of the state because they don't respect you at all. That's the problem. They don't respect taxpayers in this state. They think your money is their money's and they can waste it however they want to. And that's what they're doing. They are wasting money. Okay, just two quick things that I did want to cover. One is this shameful, gratuitous pandering that actually was a terrible thing that they did for DSP people, direct support personnel. They got up there and they said they gave them an 80-cent an hour pay increase, but actually they cut hours.
Yeah, they cut 630,000 direct care hours to our development disabled friends and neighbors.
Terrible.
Our fellow human beings, the people who, through any moral ethic, whatever your religion, party, whatever else, these are the people we truly have a duty to take care of because through no fault of their own. But, I mean, direct support professionals for your listeners, these are the folks who bathe, feed, toilet, hygiene, all the things. And they came in and said, we'll give you, the governor had 50 cent an hour increase in their pay, which, by the way, under Governor Pritzker, we've gone backwards, right? So when Governor Pritzker came in, they were at 150% of minimum wage is what they were getting paid to do these duties and chores. Now they're down to like the 140s, okay? So Fritz, you need $2 to get back to 150 cents, okay? You need $2. Pritzker comes in and says, I'll give you 50 cents. Well, that's an insult. Okay? It
is an insult.
But set that aside for a minute. The Democrats then come up with and say, oh, we're so nice. We'll make it 80 cents. Okay, wow, 80 cents. Well, that's definitely better than 50 cents. Except they didn't change the approach, Jeannie. So the dollar amount remained flat, which means at the end of the day, if you're gonna pay somebody 80% more and you only have 50 cents to pay them, you're gonna have 630,000 less direct care hours for our developmentally disabled friends and neighbors in this state. 630,000 less hours of toileting, feeding, bathing, personal hygiene. Think about that. It is despicable on its face, but it is beyond cynical to look you in the eye, lie to your face, tell them you're doing something better at 80 cents, knowing damn well that you didn't do anything but hurt them. They hurt them.
This is who the Democrats are. They are not compassionate. Last point to make, zero property tax relief. And in fact, they went backwards.
They got it. So,
I know.
The entire state budget, there was like a $43 million or $48 million in property tax relief in the K-12 budget for limited school districts in poor neighborhoods. And they cut that out.
They took that out. They cut it out. They said, yep, we're putting that on pause.
Put it on pause. That's what pause. We're putting that on pause. They put the rainy day fund on pause too, by the way. No tax, no property tax relief. They took it away. They put the rainy day fund on pause. They have taken a huge bludgeon to our development disabled friends and neighbors. I mean, it's just sick. And then raised $1 billion in taxes. And I think, I mean, as we just talked about, they're just getting started. I mean, I think the House is coming back this summer, and they're going to do that $1.50 Amazon delivery tax.
They're awful. Okay, Chapin, I want to thank you so much for, I know it's been a really, really long week for you, and I really appreciate you coming on and sharing this information. Everybody needs to know what's going on in the state of Illinois, and then they need to act. They need to vote these people out of office. Chapin, thank you so much again for your insight. Really appreciate you.
Thanks for the opportunity, Jeanne. Keep the fight up, and for the fight in 51st Senate District, we will never give up. So.
Sounds great. Okay, we'll be right back. This is The Real Story with Jeanne Ives.